Hey everyone, and welcome back to LFC Online. It's your boy Harold doing another post-match reaction to another Liverpool game. We have just played Real Madrid at home in the second leg of the Champions League quarterfinals, which we have drawn 0-0. Unfortunately, obviously we lost the first leg 3-1 up in Madrid, and we're now out of the Champions League. How sad. How sad. It was a gutsy display, but unfortunately with no bite, which is, you will actually see as I begin to speak about our season so far and the game in itself and start to break it down. It's just a common theme, unfortunately. So yeah, let's get straight into it if we can. So yeah, as always, I'm going to start with the lineup. So we had Mane come into the side. Obviously, he was rested on the weekend. I say rested, probably dropped actually. He was rested on the weekend. So it was a front three of our usual Bobby, Firmino and Salah. In midfield, we went with Milner, come back into the side following a good cameo-ish, I guess. I can't remember if he played against Villa now, actually. Anyway, Milner, Widge and Fab in the 6. And then obviously our usual back line. So the centre-back pairing of Phillips and Kabak, fullbacks of Robbo and Trent, and obviously Ali between the sticks. So yeah, I'm trying to think. How did I think of this? So yeah, obviously this was very different to our, not very different, but this was different to our first leg. There was no Naby Keita. So it was looking, I think Klopp was looking for a bit more control in this game. And as we started getting into the game, so I'll chat about the game itself. One thing I did notice right from the off, so okay, that's the lineup's cool. I'm happy with it-ish, I guess. Obviously, Jota on the bench, so it's Thiago. We start getting into the game. One thing you can immediately notice before the Salah chance is that there is way more pressure off the ball. One thing that we had in the first leg was that we always had it whereby it would be Gini or be Salah doing an individual press. And I think I spoke on that as well, and that's something that was quite frustrating and something that left our game in more recent times. We started to see it peter away in the 18-19 season. It was at its peak in the 17-18. Obviously, it's quite difficult to maintain such a level of intensity. But yeah, it was just good to see again. Like, we looked really up for it. We're chomping at the bit. Robbo was looking great again. I think Robbo's been quietly in a decent run of form. He was good against Villa, I have to say. I had no faults against him in the first leg against Madrid. And he's good again today. Trent Alexander-Arnold, what a performance. Absolutely brilliant. Controlled, disciplined, creative. Unfortunately, it ended in zero fruits, but fantastic performance. I'll get into his own performance a little bit later. But yeah, it was just one thing I noticed right from the off was immediately we were actually pressing. And you saw it immediately. Players started making mistakes. Kroos had no time on the ball. Modric is class, isn't he? But so is Kroos. But they had way less time on the ball. And unfortunately, they're at the age now where their athleticism is not necessarily the highest. Wijnaldum should be running rings around them. Maybe not be as technically gifted as them, but should be running rings around them. And that is what started to happen. That was the theme of the first half, because we started on fire. On fire. And obviously, that was a Salah chance. Obviously, he got played in there, and he should have finished. He should have finished. I was just saying to some friends of mine, as I was speaking about this offline, and how about first goals in games are so important. I think we've always known this, but particularly in the highest of competitions. So this is peak club football. You don't get better games than this. Yesterday night I watched PSG versus Bayern. That's one of the best games of football I've seen all season. I've been watching dire football throughout because everyone's tired, clearly. But that Bayern PSG game is how football's supposed to be played. That was absolutely exhilarating, particularly the first half. It was fantastic. So if you haven't seen that, I implore you to go check out the highlights at least. But yeah, back to our game. We saw that Salah chance. Obviously, then he got put through. It came at him quite quickly, but it's Mohamed Salah. He's been our best player so far this season. He's leading top goal scorer for the Golden Boot in the Premier League. He's got 28 goals now, I believe. 27, 28 goals now for us in red this season in all comps. Typically, like, of course he does. Even in a very bad season for us by our standards, he's still doing his own work. So he should have scored. Simple. I know it was in the first few minutes, but he should have scored. And that would go on to be our best chance of the game, unfortunately. But it will also be a theme of the game. There was another chance that we had in the first half, right at the end, where Trent does some really good work. You'll notice I'm going to say his name a lot because he was fantastic. I'm going to give his own piece on him a little bit later. He ran that right-hand side on his own. He was bloody brilliant. He ran into the box. There was a move that broke down. He then managed to receive the ball back after that, in the box, had a presence of mind to realise that Gini Wijnaldum is just behind him, squares it across goal, and Wijnaldum doesn't even hit the target. From about 13, 14 yards out, it doesn't even hit the target, and it's not good enough, essentially. We had great chances. We kept knocking at the door. Mane even looked like he was back to his best. He had a one-on-one with Vazquez. I was like, where's this been? Like, Mane, a lot of what we're complaining about is just there's things that he still does the same. Like, he likes to dilly-dally on the ball. He likes to deliberate on the ball quite a while. However, there's other things that make that way his bread and pie. He's not doing anymore. 1v1s, going on the left, going on the right. He has a way better weak foot than Mohamed Salah. You should be exploiting that a little bit more. Vazquez, he can't live with you. You go down the left, he can't live with you. Genuinely, your quality, your PMP, that's pace and power, don't really know, or power and pace, whatever. Pace and power, don't really know. Your decision making, maybe not the best, but still can be quite good. Why aren't these things? Where have they gone? But anyway, I saw that in the first 20 minutes of the game. It peaked out in the second half. I'll get onto that a little bit later. But I just wanted to see more. Why wasn't that in the first half? In the first leg, rather. That's something in the Champions League. You get punished at the highest level. You just do. I mean, we've fortunately been on the better side of things in more recent years, namely 2019. Obviously, we won the Champions League. And we managed to come down from a 3-0 deficit against Barcelona at Anfield and win 4-3. But it's just like, we are aware of how important these chances are. We just don't take them. And it's, like I was saying right at the top of this, that's the theme of our season a lot of the time. We have the lowest rate, I think it's like 2 or 3% now, the lowest rate of conversion in the Premier League at home since the turn of the new year. We don't score anymore. Fortunately against Villa, that was our first 2 goals of the year at home. We're in April. Today's date is what? Today's date is April the 14th. Like, what on earth? Like, what? Like, it'll be a theme, and it kind of continued on today. I do want to shout out a couple of people before I get into like the little breakdown of the second half as well. Kabak was great, and I wanted to touch on Kabak a bit because I was dubious of him when we first came in. I am an accountant, believe it or not. I know I don't look like someone who'd be an accountant, but anyway, I'm an accountant. Yeah, just take that. I have to be professionally quite cynical or dubious at times with certain things. So I'm not naturally that in my life, right? So when I saw Kabak come in and his first display wasn't the greatest, it didn't look like he was very settled in. It didn't look great. He slowly but surely started to show me some glimpses of very good quality because it was his ball that actually put Mohamed Salah in, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory serves me right. When he managed to get an interception from meant to be a pass to Benzema, and then obviously runs up the pitch and then plays it brilliantly. He looked well assured. He looked controlled. He looked composed. He obviously was taken up in like around the 59th, 60th minute for Klopp to change the system and go 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-4, that variance. But I think he's been good, and I think he's been good in recent weeks as well. Slowly winning me over. I think we may just exercise that clause, you know. I can't believe I'm saying this, especially after the first couple of performances. Sheffield United, namely, my goodness, I don't know how we won that game. But yeah, he played well. So that was one of the bright sparks. Him, Mohamed Salah was on it, absolutely on it. Even though he missed that chance early on, he was on it. He looked sharp. I don't know what he does to keep himself so well, so much in shape. I guess obviously he's got his nutritionist and he's got his trainers at training ground. But it's just, there's levels. Like, it just seems like he's just at level above. It's like it's just a normal season for him. COVID, schmovid. Like, it's nothing to him. Like, he's just ticking on as if, and that's not to belittle COVID. It's a very important thing. But it doesn't really, it's not affected him like at all. Like, he's completely fine. He's ticking on exactly how he normally would. He's probably even having a better year out of these last 2 also. I can only give him credit for that. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, a lot of the best talents in the world of football, even the likes of like a Lewandowski and Mbappe and Neymar, Messi, well, I won't say Messi, Ronaldo, those two are the aliens, they don't really count. But normally they do take a higher portion of they have a lower conversion rate. It takes a lot of chances for them to score a goal, annoyingly, but that's just how it is. And unfortunately, made us pay today. I think we saw that first goal early on. I think it changed the complexion of the game. But yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to Kabak, Salah as well. And Trent's one to come for sure. But yeah, that's my first half thoughts on that. Right, second half comes now, and I was like, okay, come on guys, let's press on. And you'll be like, just to sum it up really quickly, first 5-10 minutes, like was the same theme of the first half, the first start. Trent is absolutely, I use a term in NBA, we say if someone's playing really well, they're hooping. Trent was hooping. He was doing everything. He was barging Rodrigo off the ball on one end into the advertising boards, kicking the ball up and going to the other side, whipping it back post for Mane, just about not to get there. It was our creative outlet if you've ever seen one. It was a fantastic display. I think he can hold his head quite high. I think he was bloody brilliant today. Milner was good as well. Actually, I need to mention him. Trent was bloody fantastic. I don't know what other superlatives to use for him, if not to swear, but he was fantastic. He was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, this is why we wax lyrical about him. Sometimes a bit too far, I do have to say. There's defensive deficiencies in his game, but it annoys me that people don't like to highlight when he does do quite well, like today. Obviously, Madrid were not looking to press us as much as they were in the first leg, but he did well. Vinicius Junior didn't really have much to do or much to feed off. But also he didn't press us in any way, shape or form. Rodrigo also was, if followed in the same manner as well. I guess he had a little bit of he had a very short cameo, was mostly defending. But Trent was great, man, and I just wish we had a bit more movement. And that was something that bothered me. So as we got into the game, and the game got into like its natural lull, Madrid's technical ballers, so the Krooses and the Modric as well, started taking control of the game. Casemiro is fantastic. He is a bloody good player. Okay, but Brazil are blessed to have both him and Fabinho in their sides. Imagine that in a double pivot, just not getting past. It was great. He put himself in positions to block balls. He was a little bit of a pantomime villain with that very late challenge on Milner in the first half as well. He was great, man. I think he needs to give credit where it's due. I think he was bloody brilliant, and he made us pay in that regard. Trying to think of any other points that were key. Yes, so Madrid were in control of the game, went to this lull. Then obviously we make our subs. We bring on both Jota and Thiago, Milner and Kabak go off, and then we go to this like 4-2-4/4-2-3-1 formation, similar to one that we had at the Emirates a couple of weeks ago, where we won there 3-0. So I was like, okay, because this looks a bit good. But then the shape of it, I wasn't a big fan of. Everyone was standing and looking. Salah was on the right-hand side still. Firmino and Mane were in the middle. Jota was on the left. Jota was all the way on the wings, almost as if to say he was a winger. He had chalk on his boots, as if he was a Leroy Sané. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, this is ridiculous. I don't know why he was all the way out there so far. Mane was always looking at the ball, always looking at the play, as opposed to how we love seeing him on the shoulder of the defence. I understand there's very little movement that you can have when they're camped in their own penalty area. However, the movement to take a defender away to create space for someone else to go in and then fill in that slot. Maybe a midfield runner of a Thiago or an Ox, so he had a late run there in the game as well. Or Shaqiri could have that run in and have that space in behind, or even a Salah. There's just no presence of mind. There was no width other than our fullbacks, and it just didn't work. We just kept trying to force it through the middle, and it didn't work out. And it was frustrating, but at the same time, I have to give credit to Real Madrid. They rode their luck, as you would if you set out to be so defensive, but they were worth their money. They won the game in the first leg. And yeah, so congratulations to Real Madrid. Best of luck to them. Well, actually, no, I won't say that. I don't really care. Well done. You won the game fair and square. You were the better side over 2 legs. We definitely let our guard slip in the first leg. So yeah, for me, from here on out, like, what's next for us? Just secure top 4. Looks like we have the best fixture list out of everyone else. So let's secure that top 4. We move on from here. We put in a spirited display, like I started with all this. It was a gutsy display. And let's go from here, man. Look, this is it. This is peak football. We go out like this to a Madrid side who haven't necessarily been doing so well this season, but when it comes to the quarterfinals or comes to knockout rounds, they turn it on, similar like they're doing in the league. So let's go back to basics. Let's get back into the competition for next year, and then we go again with a full squad. And yeah, that's that, guys. Heads up, chins up, and yeah, we go again. So I'll be back as always for our next post match. I'm thinking of doing a preview as well. So yeah, make sure if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you like the kind of things I say, you like Gary's fantastic edit. You don't know who Gary is, but he's a great guy. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking the video if you like it, disliking if you don't like it, just so we know what you do and don't like. Comment down below, get engaged with us as well, and yeah, follow us on all the socials as well, LFC Online, on all of your social media platforms, namely Twitter. So yeah, that is all. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.